And welcome on yet another umbraCoffee episode. It's episode 17. And together today we are joined by Emma from the Crumpled Dog. Hi, Emma.
Hi,
Hey,
nice to see you guys. Oh, good, thank you. Good, busy, good.
Yeah, we've been just discussing before going live that we are all counting down to Code Garden, all the amazing things happening in the nearest future. But as usual, we've had a great week this week, and we will go through the Umbraco news happened and discuss it together. So I would like to start with one topic which brought my attention this week. It was about a survey or a poll in one of the UK's magazine. Let me share my screen, show it to you. Niels and Umbraco showed it once about the CMS usages. It was a question for the clients about which CMS do you use most for client work? And I've been preparing many talks related with CMSs, and Umbraco was always far behind in those surveys and polls. And right now we can see that Umbraco is third. Yep, just after WordPress and the amazing unknown other CMS. We don't know in which technology it's done, but yeah, it's really interesting that it's growing so fast, and definitely UK is the biggest market right now, and that's really good to see. And I also shared one thing this week. It's from the Stack Overflow survey. I don't know if you were reading it or checking it, and in one question which was about most loved and dreaded and wanted platforms, Drupal and WordPress were on the top of this list. So I shared the message that I may know the answer for and simple solution for it. Just use Umbraco and other CMSs which are better and more user, developers, and editors friendly.
Do we know if how that question was angled, how they got that answer? Was it from a developer perspective, or was that from like an editor point of view?
One of my friends said that it was some kind of I would like to work with X, Y, and Z, or I don't want to work with ABC. So yeah, it's I don't want to work with Drupal SharePoint. And to be honest, I don't know any developer which was happy after working with SharePoint. So it might be true. It might be true.
Awesome. We've actually, this is kind of like a sneak peek at something that Marcin and I have been discussing for a little while. So we were going to try and get someone on from a different CMS, someone that works with other CMSs, to see maybe how we can learn from them. Because I've said this before, and there's probably a few lessons we can learn from WordPress being the biggest CMS in the world. It's got a massive package or a plugin economy. So there's loads of ideas that we can borrow from over there and try and bring them into Umbraco. So we're hopefully going to try at some point to get someone on to maybe discuss a few of the things going on in the WordPress world and see how we can learn from those.
I think one of the interesting things to look at as well with the most dreaded CMSs, when you've got something that's massively used, that's so widely used, you're going to have more people who are going to want to complain about it too. So it's interesting that WordPress was in one of the most widely used, but Drupal wasn't, and Drupal was one of the most dreaded. So it seems...
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on other CMSs, and like Callum said, maybe invite some people to share the ideas and discuss ideas for which can make our work and life easier as well. We've had also a script release this week. The latest issue is covering topics like Tour Editor from Dave, Umbraco CMS and React, video and presentation done by Paul Seal. Both were our guests in the past. Some other articles about programming and integration of a new newcomers in Umbraco. So feel free to check the latest script release. It of course covers all of the events coming in the nearest future, trainings, and all the rest stuff like meetups, etc. Yeah, we'll always keep an eye on script releases, and yeah, we're looking for more amazing articles there. What else do we have this week? Callum, do you want to share
some new packages, perhaps?
Yeah.
So Core Editor 1.1, which was debuted on this platform, umbraCoffee. So Dave has released 1.1 now. I've not quite had a chance to play with Tor Editor yet, but I've heard that the new release has got loads of improvements and new things you can add. So supporting of tours, supporting of ordering and sorting tours and steps and things. Yeah, Dave also did a really cool pull request, I think, into the core this week that I'll see if I can find a link to it. But it fixed an issue where you could like turn off tours for a specific section or something.
He's going to be talking at Code Garden too about.
He's doing it. Yeah, it is. He's clearly investing a lot of time in this. This topic. He's going to become the tours god. Very, very short.
and I saw that he responded to pull request feedback in 20 minutes with the changes made and during the trip on the train to the work. So that's really amazing. And like you've said, Callum, he is investing a lot of time. So Dave, if you're watching us, keep up the good work. You're really doing amazing things, and we can look forward to see what's going on and what you will prepare for the Code Garden with a tour editor and other packages. And yeah, Dave won a package a competition like the Umbraco Awards with Nexu last year. Yeah, I just remember that.
I wonder if this one's going to be 2 years in a row.
Yeah, we will see. We'll see. Emma, did you submit any Umbraco Awards candidates?
Not for my part, certainly. As for us, we haven't had the chat yet, so I'm not sure. But it will be there'll be a grand unveiling if so.
Cool.
You'll be the first to find out.
There's still a couple of weeks. I think it's the 4th of April. That's next week. So 2 weeks time, I think that the Umbraco Awards submissions close. You can submit anything that's been launched since last Code Garden. And they expanded the number of awards that are up for grabs massively. So there's loads of different options for things for piece of work you can submit. So I'm pretty sure almost everyone is going to have something that they they want to show off and brag about. So if you have something you think's worthy, submit it. Let the jury decide if it's worthy. And got a couple of weeks.
Speaking about Code Garden, maybe let's do a quick catch up. What happened during this week? So we had a small speaker announcement. I saw that, for example, Tor, and I can't spell this last name, was announced also with some amazing topics around development, not only Umbraco particularly. Also Niels with small steps for a better editorial experience. And of course, who else? Nathan Wolf will be talking about Plumber. And Callum, if I'm correct, he was doing this talk on UDAF, right?
He did do a talk at UDAF as well, which was a great session.
Yeah. So,
Plumber's a really interesting package. For those that don't know, I think we've spoken about it before, but it's like a workflow builder for the back office. Really, really interesting. And he's been investing a lot of time and effort into making it so successful. He's doing a release at like once a week or something at the moment. So yeah.
So I also see that the Chief Happiness Officer is back to the talk. I've never seen him talk, so I'm quite looking forward to that one. The Alexander, I can't say his surname. Girolf?
No.
Yeah.
With WTF are we even doing here?
Yeah, it should be interesting.
It's really, really amazing. And we, of course, the speakers will be announced each week, and it's not the final agenda, but the call for proposal is closed. So that's
closed on Thursday. I managed to squeeze a couple of last-minute submissions in.
So we will see. Cool. Okay, and the topic which gathered us all here was with your pull request, Emma. We've seen that you've done a first pull request which was merged into the Umbraco. So will you share some insights, or I don't know, your thoughts after doing it? Was it hard, or what were the problems with it, or who helped you, or something like that?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I got it into my head that I wanted to pull request back when I was at Code Garden in 2016. I went to a talk where Blake did her first pull request, and as I sat there, I absolutely had no idea what they were even talking about. I was like, right, okay, I'm new to this. It sounds interesting. I'd love to contribute. Wouldn't know where to begin. So now, I keep an eye on the forum. I'll occasionally put something into like try and help people out on our umbraco.org. But even the idea of looking at the bug tracker was just a little bit too intimidating. So I had a good chat with Jevon about it and said, you know, I'd really like to get a pull request in before we have Code Garden this year. It was, you know, there that I first decided I wanted to try and contribute. And he sat me down and had a chat about the way we would do it. I also looked at Sebastian Jansen's article from 24 Days in Umbraco, actually 2014, so going a ways back. And it's a fantastic piece. Like, it simplifies it to a point where it's not even remotely intimidating. It was, so yeah, it was all pretty simple. It was changing the system requirements and documentation. It didn't list Visual Studio as something you could use with Umbraco, so that had been niggling me. So I thought, right, okay, let's make this my test case. Pulled it down, forked it, changed it, and then submitted it as a pull request. And I just followed the guide, and it was alarmingly simple. So almost immediately after, I went straight onto the bug tracker and found a bug that I wanted to fix. So when I have the time, that's what I'll be working on. Hopefully I can, I mean, it was something I found incredibly intimidating until I rolled up my sleeves and got in. There's just endless people around who can help as well, people who would be happy to talk you through. I'm fortunate enough to have a really fantastic team of super helpful people, but if not, I could have just gone to this article and gone through there. So yeah.
That's an awesome case study for contributing to the core, especially as your first experience. Like, you kind of took resource from the community, and you're very lucky that you've got Jevon, but the blog articles out there, and kind of, like you say, once you dive in and you realize that it's not that bad.
The funny thing is, like, even sitting in that session with Blake, and I think it was Sebastian helping her, but my memory might be failing me in my old age. But you could even watch the video and they took you through it step by step. I remember that was my first tech conference. It was my first, experience of anything like that. And I sat there and I walked away thinking, right, I think I could probably do that. So yeah, it's nice now. I can get in and sort of dig around in all the code and see how it's all built, this tool that I use every day. So yeah.
And you've got a shiny blue badge on your arm.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to mention. Exactly. Yeah. Congrats. And I remember also my first pull request, and that was a huge motivation for doing more like that.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm doing a talk tomorrow in Wrocław about contributing to open source and career, and how to build career doing open source as a contributor and maintainer. And I will just show straight from the stage, same as Sebastian did with Blake, how to do pull requests, because it's not complicated, and people can contribute in different ways. And my friend Ella, maybe she's watching us here, is not a developer. She was finding typos in many repositories, and she is right now a contributor in Westboss, a well-known front-end developer and community guy. She is a contributor in his repositories right now and listed on the GitHub. So it's really amazing. And she didn't do any code. She was only fixing some typos and mistakes in the documentation, which is also important for all of the maintainers and open source movements. And
I think the other thing is, once you're in as well, and you can see the meat and bones of the way that Umbraco is built, it empowers you to then use that tool better as you write your code around it. Like, it's an entirely different experience once you see the inside. I think it took me a while to look, because I just thought, I'll be out of my depth, I won't know what I'm doing. But the article and the session, it took away that kind of barrier, took away the terror of digging in.
Also, the knowledge that you gain from committing, or from working and investigating how the Umbraco source works, I think is really important. So I had never really built like a hardcore AngularJS application, full single-page app in Angular before playing around with the Umbraco back office. And by doing that, I think it helped me gain a lot of knowledge that I'm now using actively in a project that we're doing with an Angular thing. So it's kind of almost an excuse for your employer to invest in your time to help contribute to Umbraco or other open source projects, because it will help them in the long run. You can then apply that skill and you'll be faster when you come to do a task that's similar in the future.
And it makes the tool we use every day that much better.
Exactly.
Which is what we want.
Yeah, we can also mention that Umbraco improved their way of helping contributors with making the contributing MD file, for example, really descriptive. The instructions there are amazing, and they are just driving you step by step how to contribute and what you can do to make Umbraco better. And this is exactly done for all of the other projects. There are some websites like Up for Grabs, for example, where you can pick issues which are open for contributors. And also there is a great site which is I will share it here in the description, is for first timers only. So it's for contributors who are doing a pull request for the first time. And usually it's a small thing in various repositories where you can just pull it down, check if it works, or even don't build it, but just fix something what doesn't require any additional or special knowledge. It's not a rocket science or something like that. And you can just create and submit pull requests and be a contributor in open source. That's amazing, I think.
Awesome.
We will share it, and I'm known from making various T-shirts, and I have an idea for a T-shirt. That's a name of this episode today. Just fork it. So yeah,
that's great.
Just fork it is a great thought after the chat about the contributing. I will be walking and selling it during the Code Garden this year. Okay, that's a great summary, and we have also some additional topics which were popping out during the week. Callum, do you want to bring something from the list there?
Yeah, I think a good one is Carol Logan wrote a blog post earlier in the week, I think start of the week, about empathy in tech, based on a talk that she did at an Agile meetup. I had a read through this. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. Well worth a read. I think, was it Tim Saunders also did a similar talk at the Umbraco London session. It was a little bit more abstract. It was about kind of sociological principles instead of just in tech. But I think it's a topic that's actually really worth us discussing. And
I think it's a topic that generally doesn't come up as well. I think that we've got this kind of, what's the word, stereotype that we're fighting against as developers. In fact, in the last Script Digest, it came up too. It was how to motivate developers, and they're talking about this, very introverted, very quiet, very shut down developer who's sarcastic and unhappy. So having these talks, I mean, it makes us better as a community. It makes us better as, and it certainly helps us appear better from the outside in as well. I love Carol's article. I really, really enjoy the way she writes, and I enjoy that she's, just as quick to write an article about something like empathy as she is to write about something highly technical.
Yeah, and those topics are really important. I'm trying to learn more about soft skills around IT right now, and it's really, really important.
Did you just see the unicorn post?
The unicorn.
Yeah.
Everyone has a unicorn in their house.
We have a unicorn, funny enough.
Why I'm working remotely, I don't have any unicorn in my house.
Oh no, we can post one.
Yeah, and also as a last topic, I think we can mention that Umbraco is looking for your help with the survey, which they've shared today on Twitter. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, they've got a graduate, Josephine, who's working with them.
Yes.
And she wants to know a little bit about kind of how we use Umbraco, what we're doing. This is very similar to something that Ilham, who's now the
community
engagement officer, did a year ago, and she presented that back at Code Garden. So maybe we're going to be seeing a similar thing here, getting the results presented.
That data was really, really interesting.
It was really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all.
I think there was one other thing I was going to say, which I spoke to Marcin about just before we went on. So I think we can unveil this. We've been talking about this for a little while, but we've had some umbraCoffee placemats for mugs created, and all of the speakers that come on umbraCoffee are going to get sent them, even retrospectively. So Emma, we'll have one of these.
I'm really excited about that.
They're exclusive. If you really want one, let us know, and we'll get you on umbraCoffee. And also, I think we're going to have some special umbraCoffee stickers or something at Code Garden. So we'll both be there. Hit us up if you want something, and we'll we'll give you some umbraCoffee swag.
Yeah. And we know, Emma, you will be also there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for sure. I'll be
unicorn.
representing. I love this guy. Do I get to keep it on my desk for a while now? Yay. Our mascot.
That's great. Thank you, Emma, for joining us.
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Say hi to all of your colleagues, and yeah, see you in a bit on Code Garden and other events coming in.
Yay. See you soon.
Cheers, Emma. Have a nice weekend.
Bye.